an activist, and he is unwaveringly committed to the Roma rights and Roma identity across the world. So it is our pleasure to have Mr. Knudsen to deliberate on this proposed subject. So I request Mr. Knudsen to deliver his speech, and I also request humbly to wind up his speech within 8 to 10 minutes. Yes, Mr. Knudsen, the floor is yours. Please start your speech.
Thank you, Mr. Zameer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for inviting me for presenting my viewpoint on Roma integration. There is no inclusion of Roma possible without to look into the subject of Antiziganism, Antigypyism. Integration through proclaimed assimilation was for Roma and Sinti the only chance to participate in the society as citizen, as worker, as student. This has always come with hiding the Roma family life, the Roma identity. Only after years of friendship, some try to out themselves, but received mixed reactions. This shows that we, the Roma, have also to question ourselves and our identity. Why do we behave like this? There are not only few who are willingly copying the Antiziganism of the majority society. A good example for fake assimilation is Marianne Rosenberg. Mrs. Rosenberg is from a Berlin Sinti family. Her father was a Holocaust survivor and founded one of the first Roma and Sinti NGOs in the 80s. Her sister is the chairwoman of this NGO today. Marianne, for herself, became a German folk Schlager megastar. She's a German legend, but she outed herself as being part of the Sinti minority just in recent years with her sister in a TV talk after making for decades music entertainment. Also a successful German rap star is a Sinto. Sinto is for a Sinti male. He kept the secret for many years and outed himself as member of the national minority just in the last years. He even released a song with the title Goina, from Zigeuner. But he is not getting any political. These two persons are a very good example for the German Sinti. We are losing the successful people. Why? Because they would not have a chance if they are marked as Zigan, Zigeuner, Zigeunere, Zigan, Zigane. If not completely assimilated or played fake assimilation, they keep their identity secret because of two reasons. First, the transnational traumatization, and secondly, the Antiziganism, the Antigypyism. The transgenerational traumatization make them still hiding their identity to strangers and outsiders from the majority society. This is a protection mechanism passed forward through generations. It happens sometimes that pressure by public services and institutions who are experienced by like state powers, getting the people triggered and reacting with attack, often verbally calling the opponent a Nazi, or trying to escape the situation by agreeing to everything just to get out of this. Children often escort the parents, so the transgenerational traumatization is passed on. Another reason, especially for the Roma and Sinti, are the Second World War and the Yugoslavian wars. Let me explain the word Zigeuner. Zigeuner is coming, Zigan, this word Zigan, what we have in variations all over Europe, just not in English-speaking countries. That's why we need to speak in native English-speaking countries like the United States and Great Britain, for example, about the national anti-Gypsyism, because they see us as gypsies and the rest of Europe see us as Zigan in any form. And the word Zigan is coming from the old Turkish word for poor people, what is also then a relation to our status within the Ottoman Empire as slaves. The Antiziganism, on the other hand, is like a consens between the European nation and those in American territories, where they have already been deported to centuries ago. There are these negative prejudices that seems to be connected a long time ago. We find them with the Ottoman Empire. Many of them still use the stereotypes against us, the other, because of the Ottoman Empire and the Islam that entered Europe with us. In 1914, the Ottoman Empire ended, but the prejudice toward the Roma persisted because they stayed in the Balkan area or fled the Ottoman slavery to the coasts of Europe or fell into slavery in Romania or to serfdom in the rest of Europe. It is nearly impossible not to be confronted or harassed by the anti-Ziganism of European societies. The only future for the Roma people, and I count the Sinti in, is a progressive and aggressive inclusion policy. We need to get a place by the table, by every table of the societies where we live in. This is what we have to demand. The big but on the other side is, with what identity are people representing Roma? This means that at the same time we demand inclusion, we need to know who or what we are and how we can deal with this as minority and as a nation for the good of all Roma. In recent years, a Roma woman NGO in Berlin established in the left German society the term Romnia and Sinti esse. But gendering is not the right way, is not our problem when we don't get jobs because of our face or our name, or our children getting into school into troubles because of their heritage, or even worse, with living on wastelands and have only one thought: stop the hunger or stop freezing. Another issue in Germany is the disintegration by deportation of ex-Yugoslavian Roma. People getting deported after being born in Germany. This is happening 20, 30 years after. It shows the will, or better, unwillingness of the German society to give these people a chance for resting and the pursuit of happiness in the countries they live in and countries where they are citizens of. They have been kept for decades on so-called status of Duldung. The translation is sufferance. Heuristic is the suspension of the deportation. A life on hold for decades and generations. So the only way is inclusion. Assimilation and faked assimilation is just comfortable for the majority population and is against the European minority protection laws. The integration is done by the to be integrated part by complying and accepting national values and legislation. Values, for example, like gender equality or early marriages. With the legislation, the national jurisdiction system is meant, but this way is not embracing the richness of the Romani culture and is not seeing it as a part of the majority. This is the problem with integration by the majority. It demands its dominance. For a fair together, we need the inclusion, and we need to include the richness of our Roma culture into the multicultural European society. We will need more than the goodwill of the majority societies we live in. Recently, the Ukraine war shows us that we have no player on the international field of diplomacy or politics to enforce Roma safety and basic human rights. There is the need to be a Roma nation with the diplomatic and political power to claim demands for Roma from unions, countries, counties and cities. Thank you for your listening.